Amazon agreed to pay $2.5 billion after the Federal Trade Commission said it made Prime too easy to enter and too hard to escape. But here's the part that should make you check your own bank statement tonight. Amazon was not just selling you fast shipping. It was selling you the feeling that canceling was tomorrow's problem. And tomorrow's problem is one of the most profitable products in America. Before we go any further, ask yourself this. If Amazon charged you an extra $400 last year through subscriptions, add-ons, impulse orders, and I'll cancel later decisions, would you even know? Most people wouldn't, and that is the whole trap. Because this is not really a video about Amazon Prime. It's a video about the most expensive sentence in modern consumer finance. I'll deal with it later. That sentence costs Americans billions. And today we're going to talk about how the maze works, why your brain falls for it, how much it can actually cost you, and how to get out without turning your life into a full-time spreadsheet. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about the systems companies build to legally take your money. If you've ever looked at your bank statement and thought, wait, what is this charge? Or tried to cancel a subscription and somehow ended up keeping it, make sure to hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because look, I'm not here to tell you Amazon is evil and you should move into a cabin and churn your own butter. That's not the point. Amazon is useful. That's exactly why this works. Prime can be useful. Fast shipping can be useful. Subscribe and save can be useful when you actually use it correctly. But usefulness is not the same thing as value. And convenience is not the same thing as savings. That distinction is where a lot of people lose money. Because convenience is never neutral. Convenience changes behavior. And if a company can remove friction from buying while adding friction to canceling, your money starts moving in a direction you did not consciously choose. That is the maze. And it starts with a simple trick. Signing up happens when motivation is high. Canceling happens when motivation is low. Think about it. You sign up for Prime because you want something now. Maybe it's a birthday gift. Maybe it's household stuff. Maybe it's one order where the free shipping option suddenly makes the membership feel smart. You are motivated. You are focused. You want the benefit. So Amazon makes the path smooth. Saved card. Fast checkout. One click. Done. But cancellation? Cancellation usually happens after work. Or while you're irritated. Or while you're half watching TV. Or while your kid is asking for something. Or while you're staring at your bank statement thinking, why is this month so expensive? That is a totally different emotional state. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Companies do not need to beat your best self. They only need to beat your tired self. And companies know this. They know you do not cancel subscriptions in perfect conditions. You cancel them while tired, distracted, annoyed, or already overwhelmed. So if they add just enough friction, just enough hesitation, just enough "are you sure" language, a lot of people will do the most human thing possible. They'll postpone. And postponement is profitable. Here's the uncomfortable question. How many subscriptions on your card right now are still active not because you love them, but because canceling them was slightly more annoying than keeping them? That is the business model. Not always value, not always loyalty, sometimes just friction. And Amazon became the most famous example because the FTC said the company used deceptive interface designs, often called dark patterns, to enroll consumers into Prime and make cancellation harder than it should have been. Internal documents reportedly referred to the Prime cancellation flow as Project Iliad, as in the ancient war epic. Read that again. Someone looked at a cancellation process and named it after a war. That is not exactly the name you choose when the goal is simple customer service. And that name tells you something. Nobody accidentally names a clean, customer-friendly exit process after a long, exhausting conflict. The point of the maze was not to make cancellation impossible. That would be too obvious. The point was to make cancellation just annoying enough that your motivation died before the subscription did. And this is where people make the first mistake. They think, okay, but I'm smart, I wouldn't fall for that. Yes, you would, I would, everybody would. Because this is not about intelligence, it is about human energy. If you need 6 clicks to cancel something you signed up for in 1 click, that is not a technology problem. That is a business decision. And the reason it works is simple. Every extra screen gives your brain another chance to quit. Not quit the subscription. Quit the cancellation. There's a difference. One screen says, "Are you sure?" Another reminds you of benefits. Another suggests pausing. Another offers an alternative. Another makes the cancel button less obvious. Another reframes the decision as losing something. And suddenly your brain is not asking, "Is this worth the money?" It is asking, "Do I have the energy to finish this right now?" That is a very different question, and companies love when your financial decisions become energy decisions, because tired people click Keep Membership. And in a minute, I'll show you why the cancellation fee is not the real cost. The real cost is what happens to your behavior after the system trains you to stop hesitating. Now let's talk about the money. Amazon Prime in the US costs $14.99 per month, or $139 per year if paid annually. That means if you pay monthly, you're spending about $180 a year, and some people hear that and go, okay, that's not terrible. And maybe for you it isn't. Maybe you use it constantly. Maybe it genuinely saves you time. Maybe it earns its place. Fine. But the Prime fee is not the whole story. The fee is the visible cost. The behavior is the hidden cost. Because Prime does not just reduce shipping fees. Prime changes the space between wanting something and buying it. Without Prime, you might see an $18 item and pause. You might wait. You might combine it with another order. You might compare prices. You might realize you don't need it. With Prime, that tiny moment of hesitation disappears. And that hesitation was valuable. That little voice saying, "Do I really need this today?" was protecting you. Prime doesn't just give you fast shipping. It removes the question. And once that question disappears, your spending can start leaking in $12, $18, and $27 chunks that never feel serious enough to fight. The most expensive Amazon purchase is usually not the membership. It's the order you would not have placed if buying had been slightly more annoying. That is why free shipping can become one of the most expensive phrases in personal finance. Because the shipping is not free. You prepaid for it. And once you prepaid, buying feels cheaper than it really is. It is like going to a buffet and saying, the fifth plate is free. No, you paid at the door. Now, to be fair, none of this proves Prime is bad for everyone. That would be lazy advice. Some households absolutely get value from it. The real question is not, is Amazon Prime good or bad? The real question is, what kind of shopper does this membership turn me into? That is the question most people avoid, because the answer can be uncomfortable. Maybe Prime helps you restock essentials. That is useful. Maybe Prime helps you avoid last-minute stress. That can be valuable. But maybe Prime also makes boredom shopping easier. Maybe it makes late-night impulse purchases easier. Maybe it makes you compare prices less. Maybe it turns every tiny inconvenience into a checkout moment. Same membership, different behavior. And the behavior is where the real money goes. Let's make this concrete. Imagine Sarah. Sarah is not irresponsible. She works hard. She pays her bills. She is trying to be careful. But every month she feels like money is disappearing. Not in one huge dramatic mistake, just slowly, quietly. Like her bank account has a leak, so she finally checks Amazon. At first, she looks at the total amount. And honestly, it looks bad, but not shocking. A few household items, a couple of small orders, some normal life stuff. But then she checks a different number, not how much she spent. How many separate days she placed an Amazon order, and that is when the whole story changes. She expects maybe 6 order days, maybe 8. The real number is 17. 17 separate days where Amazon entered her life, solved a small inconvenience, and took money out of her account. That is not just shopping, that is a rhythm. And once she sees the rhythm, the story changes. Prime was not merely helping Sarah buy things faster, it was training her to convert small moments of discomfort into purchases. That is a much more expensive service than shipping. If you place Amazon orders on half the days in a month, you do not just have a shipping membership. You have a spending reflex, and that realization is brutal, but it is also useful, because now you know what to fix. The problem is not that Sarah is bad with money. The problem is that her default was built by someone else. And defaults are powerful. Once Amazon becomes the default store, it no longer has to win each decision. It just inherits the decision. That is how a convenience platform becomes infrastructure in your life. You stop asking, is this the best place to buy this? You ask, how fast can I get it? And that is exactly the question the system wants you asking. Now let's add subscriptions on top of that. Prime is one thing. But Amazon can also include Prime Video channels, Audible, Kindle Unlimited, music add-ons, subscribe and save, app subscriptions, digital storage, kids content, and recurring household orders. And because it all feels like Amazon, people often fail to separate necessary spending from automatic spending. So here is a realistic example. Prime Monthly, $14.99. One video channel, $8.99. Kindle Unlimited, $11.99. Audible, $14.95. Subscribe and save items you don't really need anymore, $23 a month. Nothing there sounds insane by itself, but together that is almost $74 a month. That is about $888 a year. And that is before impulse purchases, before price comparison disappears, before the might as well orders, before the stuff you bought because it would arrive tomorrow. Nobody signs up for an $888 mistake. They sign up for 5 small charges that each feel too minor to question. This is why small recurring charges are so dangerous. You do not experience them as one $888 decision. You experience them as a bunch of little charges that feel too small to matter. But money does not care that the charge felt small. Money only cares that it repeated. That is the "it's only" problem. It's only $5. It's only $10. It's only $14.99. Okay, but $14.99 a month is not $14.99. It is $179.88 a year. A $9 add-on is not $9. It is $108 a year. A $30 subscription is not $30. It is $360 a year. Nobody casually throws $1,000 in the trash, but plenty of people leak at $9.99 at a time. And this is where the psychology gets really sneaky. Because most people think cancellation is a math decision. It's not. It is often an identity decision. When you cancel a reading subscription, part of your brain says, "So I guess I'm not the person who reads more." When you cancel a fitness app, part of your brain says, "So I guess I'm not the person who gets in shape." When you cancel subscribe and save for healthy snacks, part of your brain says, "So I guess I'm not the organized person I wanted to be." That sounds dramatic, but it is real. We do not just buy products, we buy imagined versions of ourselves. And subscriptions are powerful because they keep the imagined version alive. As long as you keep paying, the plan still exists. I'm going to read more. I'm going to get organized. I'm going to use that tool. I'm going to optimize my life. Some subscriptions are not payments for services. They are payments for guilt relief. Canceling forces you to admit that maybe this season of your life does not match the fantasy. And that is uncomfortable. So people keep paying, not because they use it. Because canceling feels like giving up, but canceling is not giving up. Canceling is telling the truth. And here is one of the most financially freeing sentences you can remember. You can always resubscribe later. You are not canceling access to the last helicopter out of a disaster zone. You are canceling a digital service that will gladly take your money again tomorrow. So the burden of proof should flip. Instead of asking, "Could I maybe use this someday?" Ask, "Did I use this enough in the last 30 days to justify paying for the next 30? That one question destroys a lot of subscription excuses. Now let's talk about subscribe and save, because this is one of the most misunderstood parts of the Amazon ecosystem. People see save 5% or save 15% and think, "Great, I'm saving money." Maybe, but only if three things are true. 1. You actually need the item. 2. The delivery frequency matches your real usage. 3. The Amazon price is actually competitive. If any of those are false, the discount is just spending with better branding. Let's say you subscribe to a supplement that costs $32. You get 10% off, so you save $3.20. That feels responsible. But if you only needed it every 2 months and it ships monthly, you are not saving $3.20. You are overspending $28.80. People focus on the discount and ignore the quantity. A discount on something you do not need is not savings. It is spending with a costume on. This is how your pantry becomes a storage unit for financial denial. You open a cabinet and realize you have enough razors, protein powder, coffee filters, and vitamins to survive a regional emergency. And every item had a deal. That is how the system gets you. The deal is visible. The overconsumption is hidden. Now let's be fair. Some subscribe and save items are genuinely useful. If it's diapers, pet food, medication, household supplies, and the price is competitive, great. Keep it. Again, the point is not Amazon bad. The point is autopilot expensive, because autopilot is the enemy. Not subscriptions, not convenience. Autopilot. Autopilot will always spend your money in the direction of whoever designed the system. And Amazon did not become one of the most powerful companies in America by ignoring defaults. Defaults are the whole game. Now here is where this video becomes profitable for you. I do not want you to review your budget. That sounds boring, and honestly, that is why most people never do it. I want you to find your Amazon leak number. Not a guess, not a vibe, a real number. Because once you see the number, the decision gets much easier. Step 1. Open your Amazon account and look for memberships, subscriptions, digital services, Prime Video channels, Audible, Kindle, music, apps, and subscribe and save. The exact menus may change, so do not rely on memory. Search inside your account. Search your email. Search your bank statement. Search Amazon. Search Prime. Search Audible. Search Kindle. Search subscription. Look at the last 90 days, not just 1 month, 3 months, because some charges hide by being irregular. Write every recurring charge down. Not mentally. Actually write it down. Your brain will minimize it. Paper does not lie. Before you check, guess your number. Seriously. Guess how much Amazon-related recurring spending you have per month. Then compare it to the real number. That gap is the whole video. Step 2. Annualize everything. Never evaluate a recurring charge only by the monthly number. Monthly pricing is designed to feel harmless. Annualizing makes the decision real. $4.99 becomes $59.88 a year. $8.99 becomes $107.88 a year. $14.99 becomes $179.88 a year. $29.99 becomes $359.88 a year. Nobody cares deeply about $8.99, but people do care about spending $108 a year on something they barely use. That is a better question. Step 3. Use the "Would I buy it again?" test. For every subscription, ask, if this disappeared today, would I sign up again at full price? Not, could I maybe use this? You can imagine using almost anything, not, was this useful once? Almost everything was useful once. The question is, would I buy this again today with my own money, knowing how I actually use it? If the answer is no, cancel it. Not pause, not think about it. Cancel. You can always resubscribe later. If your card got replaced tomorrow, which subscriptions would you actually re-enter by hand? Those are probably the only ones that deserve to survive. Step 4. Separate utility from habit. Prime may be useful, but you need to know which part is useful. Is it shipping, video, Audible, Kindle, subscribe and save, household restocking, emergency convenience, or is it just the feeling of being covered? Because bundled value can be deceptive. People combine 5 weak reasons into one fake strong reason. I use the shipping sometimes, and the streaming a little, and maybe the music occasionally, and I like the deals, and I might need fast delivery. Individually, none of those reasons would survive. Bundled together, they feel persuasive. So break the bundle mentally. If Amazon sold each benefit separately, which ones would you intentionally buy? That question cuts through the fog. Step 5. Build a cancellation system. Do not rely on motivation. Motivation is what you feel after watching a video like this. A system is what saves you money 6 months from now. Create a subscriptions note on your phone. Every time you sign up for anything recurring, write down name of service, monthly or annual cost, billing date, purpose, review date, cancellation link or instructions. Then create a calendar event called subscription audit. Do it monthly or quarterly. Quarterly is enough for most people. Use one card for subscriptions if possible. Turn on transaction alerts. And when you start a free trial, put the cancellation reminder in your calendar immediately. Not later, not tomorrow, immediately. Because future you cannot be trusted with avoidable admin tasks. I say that lovingly. Future you is not bad. Future you is overbooked. The free trial is not designed for who you are today. It is designed to exploit who you imagine you will be next week. Organized, disciplined, calm, reading renewal emails, canceling exactly on time. That person is adorable. That person does not exist. So build the system now. Step 6. Cancel when you have energy. This sounds small, but it matters. Do not try to cancel subscriptions while exhausted, irritated, or halfway through 5 other things. That is when the maze wins. Set aside 10 focused minutes. Open the account. Cancel the thing. Finish the process completely. Take screenshots if the flow is confusing. Save confirmation emails. And if the platform tries to make you feel like you are losing something, remember what you are gaining. Cash flow, attention, control. The right to decide where your money goes instead of letting old decisions keep billing you forever. That is the actual benefit. Now, some people will say, Nick, I don't have time to compare every price and optimize every purchase. I know, that is not what I'm telling you to do. This is not about becoming a full-time procurement manager for paper towels. There is a massive middle ground between obsessive optimization and blindly outsourcing your spending habits to a convenience platform. You do not need perfect price discipline. You need conscious defaults. A conscious default might be I buy household necessities once a week, not every time I feel mild inconvenience. A conscious default might be I wait 24 hours before ordering anything non-essential. A conscious default might be I check one other retailer before buying expensive items. A conscious default might be I cancel any subscription I would not sign up for again today. That is not extreme. That is adult money management. And the goal here is not to become cheap. Cheap people avoid spending even when spending improves their life. That is not what we're doing. The goal is to become intentional. Intentional people spend freely on what matters and ruthlessly cut what does not. That is the whole game. The goal is not to spend less on everything. The goal is to stop spending automatically on things that no longer deserve access to your future paycheck. Because the real danger is not Amazon. The real danger is autopilot. Autopilot turns one old decision into a permanent charge. Autopilot turns "I'll cancel later" into 6 more payments. Autopilot turns convenience into a lifestyle you never actually chose. And companies love autopilot because recurring revenue is predictable. Your budget may not love it, your future self may not love it, but the company billing you absolutely loves it. That is why this matters. The Amazon cancellation maze is not just an annoying user experience. It is a symbol of a bigger financial problem. More and more of your life is being converted into recurring charges. Shopping, entertainment, apps, storage, software, delivery, household supplies. Everything wants to become a subscription, and every subscription wants one thing: access to your future paycheck before you consciously decide what to do with it. That is why you need to fight back with attention. Not panic, not guilt, attention. So here is the assignment. Today, open your Amazon account, find every recurring Amazon-related charge. Then open your bank or credit card account and search Amazon for the last 90 days. Write everything down, annualize it, then ask, would I buy this again today at full price? If the answer is no, cancel it. One charge. Start with one. Because the first cancellation is the hardest. Once you do it, you prove to yourself that the world does not end. You are not less organized. You are not less efficient. You are not giving up your life. You are just taking back a little control. And that control compounds. One canceled subscription becomes $10, then $30, then $79, then $948 a year. Not from a raise, not from a side hustle, not from suffering, just from removing expenses that no longer belong to you. That is the point. Tonight, find one charge that no longer deserves access to your future paycheck. Just one. That is how you break the maze. Amazon is not the enemy. Subscriptions are not the enemy. Convenience is not the enemy. The enemy is letting companies design your defaults better than you do, because every subscription you ignore is making a decision for your future self, and your future self deserves better than "I'll deal with it later." So run the audit. Cancel what no longer earns its place. And the next time a company makes canceling feel like a maze, remember, that friction is not an accident. It is a business model, and you do not have to fund it. My name is Nick. If this helped you, hit the like button, subscribe for more videos about the systems designed to legally take your money, and share this with someone who definitely has at least one mystery charge they need to cancel. Because we all know that person. And honestly, it might be us.